Hey, what's up guys? So we just got an announcement, a new update for Diablo 3 on patch 2.68, the PTR, which will be starting on February 6th. So this is going to be essentially what we're going to be getting potentially in Season 20 for Diablo 3 and what's to come. So keep in mind, this is all just via the official blog site and things are of course subject to change just like all of the PTR notes. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into it. I'm pretty excited because there's going to be several new sets for different classes. But anyways, first off, let's go ahead and go over the seasonal buff. As you guys know, each season there's a new buff. So this one's actually pretty unique and I do like this one quite a bit. So the new season for season 20 is going to be the season of the Forbidden Archives. So for season 20, all slots in the Kanai's cube will be able to select legendary powers from weapon, armor, or jewelry. So this is going to open up the door for a lot more theory crafting, and we'll talk briefly a little bit about this. But just as a heads up, this does not mean you get to go ahead and select like 9 legendary powers. So to make more sense of this, because I saw a lot of people posting on the forum over here that, oh, this is going to be a super OP because you can just select so many. You still can only select 3 legendary powers, but you can select 3 weapons, you can select 3 rings, 3 amulets, you can do whatever you want with it. So there's not very many restrictions. But again, you still can only select 3. I think that they should have kind of made that a little bit more clear because so many people started theory crafting on the forums here. But anyways, yeah, it's only going to go ahead and be 3 at the end of the day. But that's still pretty cool. And it also means that you cannot stack the same legendary power. So you can't have 3 copies of, let's say, the furnace or 3 copies of whatever. They still can only be 1. Okay. So anyways, now that that's out of the way over here, let's go ahead and go over one of the other seasonal rewards here, because they did announce that there's going to be some seasonal rewards. It says 2 new seasonal rewards will be available for players who fully complete the season 20 journey, including a new portrait frame and a new pet. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, but we'll go ahead and check that out. Obviously, I'll update you guys, and if you guys are new here and you do want to see gameplay of all these new things, because we just got the notes over here, which shows off all the new sets, which we'll get into in a second, but I will cover everything here. So if you are new here, hit subscribe, turn that bell, and you'll see everything as soon as it comes out. But anyways, there's just some small nerfs to some of the classes here. So with Crusader Heaven's Fury, the animation for the Fires of Heaven rune can no longer be cancelled early. And then on top of that, there's a small other nerf to Wizard, but I'm not going to go ahead and read every single thing, but there is a nerf to basically the Bazooka Wizard, which is with the Mantle of Channeling. So the bonus granted by this new item now occurs 1 second after channeling has begun over here. So this is kind of a nerf to a lot of different builds that would kind of snapshot certain skills to get the bonus of Mantle of Channeling, but for the most part, most builds that would actually utilize this the proper way won't really be affected by this. But anyways, there are some new sets, so let's go ahead and hop right into it. So first off, Barbarian got a new set, and it's called the Horde of the 90 Savages. So this is going to be the set that's all about Frenzy here. So it's got a 2-piece bonus that doubles the effectiveness of all shouts, and also feared enemies take double damage. And then with the 4-piece bonus, each stack of Frenzy reduces damage taken by 5%. With the 6-piece bonus, Frenzy deals 1,000% increased damage per stack, and there's an item that also makes it so you can stack it up to 10 times, so that's 10,000% increased damage at its maximum potential. But then with Undisputed Champion over here, which is a legendary belt, it makes it so Frenzy gains the effect of every rune, so you can get additional damage. You can also throw like a axe, and you can also gain increased fury generation, but it doesn't really matter because you're probably just going to be spamming this for majority of your damage anyways. But then there's also a item called the Bastion's Revered, and that's going to make it so Frenzy can stack up to 10 times, and there's no real change with this, but as far as the stacks go, but there is an additional change here. It stacks up to 10 times and hits an additional time per attack. So basically, if you want to think of it like you're basically getting double the DPS with this, that's kind of essentially how it works. But there's kind of something that I think will be changed here, and it says each additional hit will chain to any enemies within 15 yards, and the damage is split between all affected enemies. If you guys have played some of the higher GRs, you'll know that people will stack lots of enemies on top of each other. When you're able to attack all the enemies within 15 yards, in fact, some builds in Diablo will turn off area damage because it will actually lag and potentially just destroy the game. So I think that this will have to be changed because it says any enemies. It'll probably have some type of cap or limit on it because, again, the game will literally just be super laggy and it'll be unplayable. So I think that they will have to probably look at this and change this. That's like as far as feedback goes, I definitely think this needs to be changed to make it so it doesn't hit every enemy. Again, this is only for people that are pushing the highest graded rifts. This actually does cause a lot of problems when essentially area damage or things are proccing too many times on all the enemies. But overall, that's basically the new set with Barbarian. Let me know how you guys feel about this new set called the Horde of 90 Savages, because Frenzy was kind of a thing in D2, and I feel like in D3, no one really tried to make this build viable. There are a few uniques that tried to make it viable, but no one really utilized it, so it's kind of cool to see something emerge out of this, which will be interesting. And we'll talk a little bit more about theory crafting in a moment. I just want to go ahead and get the full 6-piece bonus of all of the newer sets out of the way, and then we'll talk a little bit more about theory crafting, because that's kind of what I want to share with you guys in this video as well. But anyways, so next up we have the Witch Doctor. So the Witch Doctor gets a new set as well. This new set is called the Mundunugu's Regalia. And so this is a 2-piece bonus that will grant Big Bad Voodoo now follows you and lasts twice as long. And then also with the 4-piece bonus, you gain 50% damage reduction for 30 seconds when you enter the Spirit Realm, which that's basically 100% uptime. And then with the 6-piece bonus, Spirit Barrage deals increased damage equal to 50 times your mana regeneration per second. So it gives you another, I guess, stat to go ahead and try to allocate. You can get on some of your pieces of gear, you can get increased mana regen. So that would be kind of cool to see other people try to meet certain thresholds with that. And then with the Barber, you're going to be getting basically a double buff on it. So it says instead of dealing direct damage, your Spirit Barrage now accumulates on the target. When you stop casting it, it explodes, dealing it used to be 225 to 250, but now it's basically doubled, up to 500% of the accumulated damage to all enemies within 15 yards. This one might be kind of fast, so it won't really matter like the other one. Again, it's because you're going to be attacking with Frenzy so many times. This one, maybe they won't have to adjust it, but again, when it attacks all enemies multiple times, it causes lag in the game. Next up, though, we have the Gazing Demise. Actually, here's what the Barber looks like. And then here's the Gazing Demise here just for visual representation. So this makes it so Spirit Barrage gains the Phantasm rune, and each active Phantasm lasts twice as long, increasing the damage of Spirit Barrage. But it used to be 40 to 50%, now it's 100 to 150, and also increases the attack rate of Manitou Spectres over here. So just overall a buff to that build as well. I haven't really messed around with Witch Doctor, honestly. You guys can let me know how you guys feel about this change down below, as I'm relatively unfamiliar with the class. I think a lot of people don't really play Witch Doctor, to be honest. But this is where we get to some absolutely insane stuff, guys. Wizard is going to 100% at the moment be absolutely broken with this new build, but of course things are subject to change on the PTR. By the way, I'm going to explain something that's going to be absolutely crazy with this build, and please don't push higher in the Greater Rift because I don't want this build to be nerfed. But let me go ahead and explain this. So this is going to be the Typhon's Veil. This is a new Hydra set, and it's so insane. So first off, with the 2-piece bonus with this doubles the duration of Hydras and it increases the number of heads on multi-headed Hydras by 2. And the gameplay that you guys see in the background, we are using the Lightning Hydra, which actually has 3 heads. In fact, all of them except for the Mammoth Hydra will have 3 heads. So that's the only one that will not be getting this bonus buff. It's kind of weird the way that they worded it too, but basically the Hydras have 3 heads, but this is going to increase the number of heads on multi-headed Hydras by 2. So the default amount of Hydras that you can summon is obviously 1, but you can increase that with Serpent Sparker, which we'll get into in a second. But with the 4-piece bonus, you're going to be able to make it so damage taken is reduced by 8% for each Hydra head alive as long as there's one available. Each time you take damage, a Hydra head dies. So this is where it gets kind of interesting. But I'll explain how to make it so this doesn't actually affect you at all. But with the 6-piece bonus, you're going to make it so Hydras deal 1,000% increased damage for each Hydra head alive. So at the end of the day, what this comes down to is you're going to be able to get to 10,000% because Serpent Sparkle will give you that additional Hydra. But you won't actually have to have these heads die, and that is essentially done by having shields. You can also double your shields with like Ashnagars. You can also run the Molten Beast Gizzard. When you take damage via shields, as far as it goes in most scenarios like Scorched Necklace, it does not count as taking damage in the game, so you can theoretically get insane amounts of damage with this, because again, you're going to be able to make it so you just simply you take damage, but it doesn't count as registering damage in the game. So this is going to be absolutely insane. And on top of that, we're getting a huge buff on 2 other things here. So with Serpent Sparker, you can have an additional Hydra. That's the legendary ability. But now we're going to be able to get 600% increased damage. In fact, in most Diablo builds, 10,000 is like what you try to go for. But with this new seasonal buff, this is where it gets pretty insane. So the Magistrate over here, which is the helm that no one uses here. So it makes it so Frost Hydra now periodically casts Frost Nova. Now, it doesn't matter which rune you have on your Hydra, you're just going to be able to get Frost Nova, and that's going to increase all of the damage of your Hydra. So definitely really good to have 2 different separate multipliers with this. Now, there's also a change to Etched Sigil and Death Wish. This is kind of something that people will be kind of using previously with like Bazooka Wizards that kind of got nerfed for this. So anyways, the bonus granted by this item now occurs 1 second after channeling, and same thing with the Mantle of Channeling. It's to nerf, again, things that would snapshot. But Etched Sigil can give you up to 135% bonus damage, and it makes it so while you're channeling Arcane Torment, Disintegrate, or Ray of Frost, the damage of your Arcane Power spenders is increased by 135. This can, as of right now, still proc your Hydra, although there's like some weird internal cooldown with Hydra that doesn't proc that often because it doesn't want to reset the one that you currently have. Otherwise, that actually would kind of be annoying because it would resummon the Hydra. Therefore, if the Hydra is still doing its animation for the attack, it wouldn't be good. But if you're able to double up on it, it might be okay. I'm not actually sure how it's going to work in the new patch because we don't have it live, but this is just the update as far as the notes go right now. With Death Wish, you're going to be able to make it so while you are channeling certain abilities, which is all the abilities with Etched Sigil, you're going to be able to deal up to 325% bonus damage. So what this means is with the new seasonal buff, you can run Serpent Sparker, you can also run Etched Sigil and Death Wish, and you still have another offhand to go ahead and run, which actually makes this absolutely insane if you want to go ahead and do this build. This is why I was saying this is going to be absolutely broken, and things will probably be changed with Wizard. I'm guessing some type of nerf is going to happen with this because the amount of damage that you're going to be able to stack with a lot of classes, in fact, can actually be pretty game-breaking. That's why, of course, they're doing it on the PTR first to kind of test certain things. They fixed a few issues where things weren't registering properly, and then with the spelling on thing, I'm not going to mention that. It's like it's funny that this is a bug in the patch notes. They corrected the spelling of Imperious on the flavor text. Again, it doesn't really matter, and they tell you how to participate. I assume all you guys know how to participate in the PTR if you guys are watching this, but basically, you just go ahead and open up a Diablo app. There's a section instead of hit play, you hit you click on PTR, then you hit install. Now, I briefly want to go ahead and go over some of the theory crafting that goes along with some of these builds here. So first off, as far as other things that can emerge out of it that aren't normal builds, with the Barbarian, if you decided to run a fear build with like a support ZDPS, I mean, enemies taking double damage is absolutely huge. So maybe you can try to make this happen. However, I do want to mention that bosses are immune to fear. This is via the Diablo wiki, but you can also proc fear with, let's say, the bottomless potion of fear. There's also a few items that can do it in the game. The Rachel's Ring can give you like 5 or 6%, and then Echoing Fury can give you a decent amount as well. But I'm not sure if this is going to emerge a ZDPS one. But I also wanted to mention, since you're doubling the effectiveness of shouts, I want to try this because if you can shout, there's one that gives you extra health and on top of that regeneration. I want to see if you can make a Death's Bargain build with Barbarian and just try to theory craft to have like insane high amount of life with, of course, that ability to have, basically, you can throw in the Leoric's Crown and then have a like purple gem, an amethyst in your helm, and just get an insane amount of HP pool. And then again, since your shouts are doubled, that regeneration is based off of like your max life, and you could just basically just get life regen on a percentage. And then you might be able to basically, if you've played maybe Path of Exile, like you think of like kind of like a Righteous Fire build, right? Where you just stack a huge amount of life, and then you stack life regen, and then everything will just melt. It is kind of just there again as kind of a placeholder for some of the theory crafting. Another thing I wanted to mention with the theory crafting here is there's a bunch of amulets that prevent you from taking a certain amount of damage. Like, for example, like the Zephyrian amulet makes it so you don't take any lightning damage. You can prevent all fire damage. And there's a lot of these ones where it just prevents a certain damage type, right? Going back to that, Season 20 seasonal buff, we're able to go ahead and have that buff of making it so you can essentially run multiple amulets. Where's the seasons over here? So again, you can have three jewelry, so 3 amulets that prevent all damage. Then you can run another amulet equipped that also prevents a certain damage. So you can maybe theoretically, if you RNG the right rift, like kind of be immune to a lot of damage. But I think that's a little bit too cheesy, but there's probably going to be a lot of builds that emerge out of this. And I'm curious to know in the comment section below what builds will work with. Again, you can have 3 weapons in your Kanai's cube. This is huge. You can have, you know, focus and restraint, and then still have double rings available to you, which is going to be really cool. I like this idea. In fact, I was hoping they would just give us access to another like set of Kanai's cube, and this I guess kind of offers the same thing. What I wanted to do was just be able to just get even just 1 additional slot in Kanai's cube that would be whatever you wanted, but this I guess kind of incorporates that. So I like where they are going with this seasonal buff. But anyways, guys, let me know what you feel about these new seasonal buffs as well as these new sets. Are you guys excited about this? Or are you guys kind of disappointed with this? As far as it goes, I definitely think that the wizard will get nerfed in some way. There's going to be there's too many multipliers with Edge Sigil, Death Witch, Serpent Sparker, and on top of that, you can just literally throw on Ashnagar Blood Bracers, and therefore you just wouldn't take any damage. You can even throw in Scorched Necklace and just have just way too many multipliers to the point where it might be too easy to clear out some of the highest greater rifts. But anyways, we'll have to wait and see, and I'll give you guys the testing footage. So if you guys are new here, hit subscribe, turn that bell, and I'll get you guys gameplay literally as soon as the PTR goes live, which will be next week. It's going to be awesome, man. But I'm just excited about these new sets. I'm really excited also to see what else they go ahead and add, because again, it's just on the PTR. There's no other new changes to any other like classes, though. I was hoping we would get like a buff or just some type of change to some of the other legendaries that just simply don't see play. Yo, I'm talking about you, Blackthorns. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.